Hi, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are Tiny Shiny Home. Our family is building an off-grid desert homestead here in southern Arizona.
So there's a lot of new people around here lately. We thought it would be a good idea to get you all caught up on who we are, what we're doing, and the best part, a sunrise tour of our desert property. Let's do some backstory. We have been married for 21 years. We have 4 kids, 4 dogs,
4 cats, 9 goats, 20-something chickens,
and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
No, not really. No partridges here in the desert. Let's talk about our kids. Yeah?
Yeah. This is our daughter, Adelaide. She works part-time, takes care of all the animals, loves to be involved, and we can't wait to show you some of the projects we've been working on for her here in just a few minutes.
Next is Jet. He's almost as tall as me, loves drawing, and is a huge help with our builds.
Jax has grown about 12 inches in the last month, loves airsoft, making videos, and is our resident jokester.
And Ada is our youngest. She's strong, independent, and always lending a hand. We're currently living in our renovated 1972 Airstream while we build our dream Earthbag home here on our property.
Yes, we've been living in a trailer for 9 years, and it is time to build a house.
Yeah, we need a little room. All our kids are big, and we're running out of space. Back in 2015, we decided to sell everything we owned, bought an RV, and travel the country with our kids. We wanted to spend as much time with them as we could and give them a childhood that was different from everyone else.
A year into our adventures, we fell in love with boondocking, camping off-grid without any hookups like water, power, or sewer. The beauty, solitude, and connection with nature was something that just ruined us. We could never go back to a normal subdivision again.
That's when we bought the Airstream, renovated it for living off-grid, and put another 100,000 miles on it. As the kids started getting older, we started thinking about the next stage.
Yeah, Adelaide and I really had a dream about a homestead and animals and gardens and just building our own things. And it wasn't until we traveled out west that we really fell in love with the desert.
Yeah, and that's when things really started to click for us. Soon that dream turned into greening the desert through permaculture, building naturally with alternative and sustainable materials, and learning how to become more self-sufficient.
We bought 11 acres of raw land here in Cochise County, Arizona, and we chose this place because
cost of land was relatively inexpensive at the time.
Yep.
The permitting was affordable and not too difficult.
The owner-builder opt-out was an option that would allow us to build alternatively, like with straw bale, cob, Earthbag, and it would allow us to do it without debt.
They'd also allow us to live in the Airstream while we built, which was a big plus for us because, like I said, we sold everything we had.
Yep.
That's all we got.
And the high desert is just a magical place.
It's actually one of the most biodiverse areas in the country, and we're at almost 5,000 feet elevation, which means cooler summers and colder winters with the occasional snow.
Since moving to the property, we actually have acquired more acreage. We're currently sitting on about 20 acres.
But we're only developing on 6. Okay, now that you're all caught up on who we are and why we're here and how we got here, we're going off script. We're moving away from the pre-planned portion of our video, and we're gonna just go walk around the property, show you all the stuff we've done in the last 4 years.
Let's get started.
One of the first things we had to do out here was to build a fence.
Right. We live in southern Arizona, which is considered a free-range state, which means there's cows everywhere.
And it's our job to keep them out.
Right. So this was the first project we did, fencing the 6 acres that we're starting with.
Right, and so we did a 9-strand high tensile electric fence. You can probably hear it clicking here. It's just got a little deep cycle battery and a little solar panel, and it just energizes. Every other wire is positive and negative, so you have to touch 2 of them.
Dad, will it like really hurt?
No, I don't know.
Ada,
You're supposed to touch this one.
You would hold on this. Oh my! Did you get shot?
Ow!
He goes, "You're supposed to touch this one." And, no! They get tighter at the bottom so it keeps predators out, and it's done a really good job keeping coyotes and javelinas and all that stuff out of the property.
guess technically the fence wasn't the very first thing that we did. It was the first thing we built.
Right.
But
true.
we did have this 400-foot driveway cut in before we even moved here.
That's true. And actually, one of the other things we did before we built the fence was water.
Yes, water is super important out here in the desert.
Right, so we had, our Airstream, we pulled it right onto the property. There's 6 of us. We don't use a lot of water because we've been pretty used to living off grid, but still we needed more than what we could fit in our tiny Airstream fresh tank. So we got a big rainwater catchment tank. And for a while, we just used a transfer pump and transferred 40 gallons into that freshwater tank every morning. And then eventually, we finally set up a little solar-powered water pump. It uses a solar panel, 12-volt battery, an RV water pump, and it pressurizes it and goes like into the RV. So it was like we had real pressurized water.
It was a good day.
That was a big day. That was. We were real proud of ourselves because we failed a bunch, trying it a few different ways the first time.
But we got it.
We got it. We've been using water, pressurized water, for a couple of weeks. No leaks.
You did really good.
Thanks. I finally figured it out. It cost us an enormous amount of time and money, but that's okay.
So we got our driveway, we got our water, got our trailer set up. It's already set up for off-grid, so we had power on it, but we knew that long-term we were going to need more power and some actual buildings. So the solar shed was the first thing that we built.
Yeah.
Ever.
It was originally going to be straw bale, but then we turned to Hyperadobe Earthbag, and I'm so glad we did because we fell in love with this process.
We did, and so we had several goals with this project. The first was to build a room to house the batteries and inverters and charge controllers we knew we would need for our off-grid solar system. And then, like you said, we wanted to experiment with some natural building techniques.
Yeah, but we also needed some extra space. So here in this county, we can build something under 200 square feet without a permit. So that's what we did.
Yeah, it's a good way for us just to try stuff out. Like we said, we never built anything before. So as a family, we built this little solar shed office. We really love it. It does double as an office, and there is a guest room in it, which is really nice. So it does give us some more space. And since then, we've added some other stuff to it, which we'll get into later. But connected to this, besides the power gear that's inside, is our solar panel array.
This is our solar array.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. Tell us a little bit about it, babe.
We're on a schedule here. We got to keep moving.
I know, but people are going to want to know how much power this is.
It's a lot of solar power. No, it's, gosh, now you're going to put me on the spot. 7,200 watts of solar. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Well, how much battery storage do we have?
About 28 kilowatt hours of storage.
Yeah. But for the house that we're building, we're going to be adding a much bigger system.
We actually have multiple power systems all over the property. This is like the big main one. It powers the shed, it powers the Airstream, and anything else we want to do out here. But we do have some small independent pump houses, like we mentioned, some 12-volt systems.
Some in the garage.
We'll get to that later.
Now we are at our shelter logic rebuild.
You know what? I think we lied again. I think this was actually the very first thing we put up on the property.
Like builds.
Yeah.
It was a kit. It was a tent.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a frame, and it had like vinyl stretched over it, and we needed a place to like store things because, like we said, all we had was the Airstream. However, they didn't last.
No.
We got 2 of them. And within like a year, the wind and the rain and the sun had just destroyed those vinyl tarps. And it was a real problem. We had some expensive power gear in there. We had some important tools and building materials.
Animal feed.
Yeah, and we had a few monsoons and some things ripped off, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah, so we took the bones of this shelter logic tent and kept them, but we added a wood facing with doors that open wide and this metal roofing that goes over top.
Yep, and we built a Hyperadobe Earthbag wall on the back just to save money. And so by the time it all worked out, we were able to build ourselves a 12 by 20 storage unit for way cheaper than it would have been to buy a kit or a shipping container or anything like that. And they've held up really well.
Yeah, and they're kind of anchored into the ground, but could be moved later on if we needed to.
Yeah, you want to talk about winds real quick?
Yeah, the winds out here are insane.
The winds are crazy. Some days we have sustained gusts of 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, but then also during monsoon season, we have these microburst updrafts of up to 100 miles an hour. So even when we were designing our solar panel array, and really when we build everything out here, we really have to overbuild and take into account one random wind burst could just take everything and throw it. So
yeah, everything that you'll see here is like majorly overbuilt. That's our theme. So this shed used to be our feed shed. We've since turned it into lumber storage and building supplies because now we have the barn, which we'll get to in a little bit.
So the second one is our garage. It has all of our tools in it. I wouldn't consider it a workshop. It's not like a really huge workshopable space, but it's really good for keeping things organized.
Oh, geez. Oh.
All right, so this is the part of the morning where the doodles come out, and they have a lot of energy, so just bear with us a minute till they get some of their wiggles out. So let's talk about our dogs. We have two doodles, a Bernedoodle named Ocho, a Labradoodle named Mo, and we have two Great Pyrenees guardian dogs, Trona and Cloud. They're all large to medium-sized dogs. They're all white. I don't know how we ended up with 4 white dogs in the desert.
They started out as tan.
What?
They started out as like apricot.
One of our next big projects was part of Ashley's dream of greening the desert. So we started looking into some permaculture options and settled on a thing called a berm and a swale. So basically the way this works is in the desert we get monsoons, the water sheet flows across the land. We have a nice slope here, and so what you do is you cut out a trench and then pile up that dirt on the other side so that the water flows into the trench and fills it up and then soaks into that big pile that you put on there. Then what you do is you put trees on there, and then those trees grow naturally without you having to do a bunch of extra watering once they get established. Not only does this help green the desert, it recharges the aquifer, it creates these biodiverse areas on your property, but also once these trees grow up, they become wind and fire breaks, which are really important out here. Wildfires are a huge problem. And so this particular swale, this was the main one. It cuts right through the entire property. It protects our house, which we'll talk about in a minute, and helped us determine where some of our other buildings needed to go.
Next up is the chicken garden. This was supposed to be a quick 4 to 6 month project, and as you can see, it's still not finished.
It's mostly finished. It was another chance for us to experiment with Earthbags.
Yeah.
And the idea was that we would have a chicken run in the middle?
Yeah, so the chickens have a run in the middle along with a nesting area, and the outside circle is supposed to serve as our future garden.
Yeah, and so all that stuff should work together. The composting, the chicken poop, the leftover garden scraps for the chickens to eat, kind of the circle of life.
We have big plans for this, but more important things have come up, like we need to build our house. Next was this building right here.
Yeah.
This is our Casa de Caca. We wanted to have a little bit more experience building and trying a few different things. We threw a lot of recycled materials into this build and learned a lot.
I think we should explain the name a little bit more.
Okay.
Yes, that does translate to House of Poo, but the idea is it's a composting toilet building, essentially. So it has 6 composting toilets in it. It's all sized for our family.
And a sink.
and a sink, a little hand washing sink. And like you said, we use all these recycled materials to fit with the theme. So that was our last Earthbag experiment. That leads us to our house. So I guess technically our house wasn't next because we were still living in our Airstream. And it turns out we had parked the Airstream right where our septic needed to go, and we had to move it. And really, we wanted to have a more permanent spot for it anyway.
Right, so we worked with Miracle Truss and we built this metal carport, which we named the airport because it has our Airstream under it. And it's worked out so well. The roof really provides a ton of shade here in the summer, but we parked it to the south to where in the winter the sun comes through the windows and heats it up nicely.
So besides just a big concrete pad and a nice cover, we did also do rainwater catchment. It's got a nice huge pump house and rainwater catchment tank. We're running power from the solar shed up in here, so it's always got AC power, which means we can run the air conditioner in the summer when it's hot. And we put in a gray water septic for our shower.
Also, we built an outdoor shower. Would you like to see it?
Yes.
Over here off the side of our solar shed, we built this incredible outdoor shower.
Yeah, it's pretty magical.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. We made it out of Hyperadobe Earthbags, but also an insane amount of bottle bricks, as you can probably see.
744 bottles.
Yeah, and so rainwater comes off of the roof of the solar shed, goes into this little 12-volt pump house, and it pressurizes it, and there's a little on-demand hot water heater that runs off propane, and all the water drains out of this into the berm and the swale, which goes back to recharging the aquifer and feeding all those trees.
Yes, but if you're going to build an outdoor shower, remember to use biodegradable soap as much as you can.
Absolutely. Well, we got sidetracked again. Mm-hmm. We did start building the house. We'll go look at the house in a minute, I promise. But yeah, we got a little sidetracked, and it actually came from the house because we were designing a roundhouse. It's kind of based on a house in Australia. Turns out we met one of the guys who helped build that house. He flew all the way over here to help us work on our house.
From Australia.
From Australia.
Yeah.
And then somehow we ended up building this.
Yeah. We did a workshop with Hayden, a 7-day workshop where we had a bunch of people here and helped us build this dome. He taught us how to do domes and Superadobe.
Yeah, and so this is actually going to be our oldest daughter, Adelai's room until the house is finished.
Yeah.
It's going to be really cool. The outside is complete. We're still working on the inside.
Yeah.
Hoping to wrap that up very soon in the next couple of months. Fingers crossed. But yeah, our first Superadobe project here on the property.
Okay, can we go to the house yet?
No, one more thing.
We almost forgot. We got sidetracked again because we were having a lot of goat babies.
A lot of goat babies.
Yeah, so Adelaide has talked us into building her barn. She's dealt with having like a really janky feed shed / milk room for a long time. So she really wanted to do this upgrade, and we did a fun project all because of you guys.
Yeah, we reached out to everybody on our channel and asked if people wanted to donate, and they showed up in a huge way. And so basically this entire project has been funded by our viewers, which is really, really cool.
This is a 40-foot shipping container that we have modified into a goat barn. So we have a milk room on one side, feed storage on another side, and kidding stalls in the middle.
Yeah, and then we built some fencing to the outside, all new field fencing, which should protect us better. And we're right in the middle of the last part of this project, which is building an awning roof off of it, which will allow us to attach solar and rainwater catchment, sort of unlock all the additional features that we've had planned. We're right in the middle of that project. And when we say we're gonna wrap this one up soon, we are gonna wrap this one up soon.
Yeah, very soon. Okay, we're finally at the house pad.
The Hyperadobe roundhouse.
Yeah. This is a massive project. A lot of people are asking how long is it going to take. It's going to take as long as it's going to take.
We don't know. This is uncharted territory. No one's ever built a house like this out of Hyperadobe Earthbags before. And if you're wondering, we keep talking about Hyperadobe and Superadobe and Earthbags and all that stuff. We have lots of videos you can watch about that. And actually, we're going to be working on a big Hyperadobe frequently asked questions video coming very soon. So keep an eye out for that. But basically, we're taking material, we're putting it into this tube netting, we're wetting it down, and we're tamping it into place. And you do this and you build it up layer by layer.
It's kind of like making Adobe bricks in a long tube.
It's kind of like a 3D printer, and we're the printers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything we have talked about today, all of the systems, the rainwater systems, the power systems, the building types, learning how to do roofs, and all this other stuff has just been practice and learning and research for this house. And so this house is taking all the things we've learned and it is combining it into
a really big project.
A really big project, but it's the heart of this property, right? It's our family home. It's going to take a while to build because we're doing Earthbags. It's going to take a long time, but it's going to be really cool when it's done.
It is. It's going to be really special.
Yeah. Okay, friends, that concludes our tour of the Tiny Shiny Homestead so far. Listen, I know we threw a lot of stuff at you. We have almost 700 videos on this channel. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. It's a lot for you to watch. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna put some links in the descriptions, so if a particular project caught your eye, you can go check it out.
Don't forget, we put out videos every Tuesday and Saturday, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a video.
Absolutely. Now, what was I gonna say? I don't remember.
I was supposed to say something. I was supposed to say,
oh, that's right.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. And then you were supposed to say,
We'll see you soon.
I think we did it. It's all good. Everything's great.
What? Uno más.
Nope.
One more time.
Nope. This was it. That's the video. Ta-da!